What's going on, guys? Kevin here from SportsBoxBreaks, coming at you live Monday night, October 22nd, 2018. I'm doing a random for this crazy card right here, 16-player material card, 7 of 25. This card came up tonight in our 2018 Panini National Treasures Baseball break number 6. So, guys, we got 16 distinct players going on here. It's a 7 of 25 card. We are going to look inside. So we have... Let me get my list off to the side here. So we're dealing with Detroit, Chicago, New York Mets, New York Yankees, St. Louis, Roger Clemens for Boston, Bruce Sutter for Atlanta, Bert Blyleven for Minnesota, Cal Ripken, Baltimore, Dave Winfield, New York Mets, Paul Molitor, Milwaukee, Wade Boggs on the Boston side, Sandberg, Chicago Cubbies, Eddie Murray, Baltimore, and Ozzie Smith for St. Louis. And here's what we look like on the inside. So let's see it one more time. Detroit, Chicago, that's the White Sox on Chicago, of course. Don Mattingly, New York Yankees, Dwight Gooden, New York Mets, Keith Hernandez on the St. Louis side. What do we got? Lee Smith, St. Louis, Roger Clemens, Boston, Bruce Sutter, Atlanta. This is crazy. This card is absolutely nuts. Beautiful card. Bert Blyleven, Minnesota, Cal Ripken, Baltimore, Dave Winfield, New York, Molitor for Milwaukee, Wade Boggs, Boston, Sandberg, Chicago Cubs, Murray for Baltimore, and Ozzie Smith, St. Louis. So 16 relic piece cards, 16 players. This one was tricky to set up. So in order to escape going to the random, and this qualifies for all of our breaks, all cards that are ever pulled, someone has to own 2/3 ownership of all the teams on the card, which means 2/3 ownership of 16 is 10 point something. So someone would have had to own 10 of those teams. That is not the case in this card. So without further ado, I had to set up all the random stuff. So let me show you what I got on screen here, guys. Here's random.org, and here's all the teams represented in the card. Tigers, White Sox, Yankees, Mets, St. Louis Cardinals, Boston Red Sox, Atlanta Braves, and this time I even put the respective owner of the team off to the side, so Dennis L. on the Braves and so on. Minnesota Twins, also Dennis L. Baltimore Orioles, Richard, New York Yankees, Tom. Milwaukee Brewers are in here because I believe, let me just double check. Let me double check, guys. I'm double checking myself. Yeah, Milwaukee Brewers are going to be in there with 2 entries because Mike had 2 spots in the break overall. Boston Red Sox for Chris, the Cubbies for Dennis, Baltimore Orioles, Richard W., and the St. Louis Cardinals for David T. And you might be asking, if you're new to our breaks, why are some of these guys in here with multiple entries for their team? So, guys, the way we work our randoms, and this has been for 4.5 years, it is a weighted random based on how many spots you own in the break overall is how many teams or how many entries your team is going to get in any of these randoms. So each one of these, because there's 16 distinct, like the Red Sox shows up in here 2 different times. So they get 2 entries, like each one of these acts as its own distinct team entry. So Chris only has the 1 spot in the break. So each one of these Boston spots shows up independently of each other, if you follow what I'm getting at here, guys. So again, you'll see the Tigers in here for Mike T, and Mike is in there twice with the Tigers because Mike has 2 spots in the break overall. Same goes for David T, St. Louis Cardinals. Actually, no, this one is a little bit of a different situation, I think, because the Cardinals show up back-to-back in the card. Let me show you what I'm talking there. This one's tricky as all hell. So St. Louis, I'm fairly certain, showed up. Yeah, St. Louis right there. One sec here, fellas. It's like the Keystone Cops here with this kind of stuff. St. Louis is in there back-to-back. So you see the St. Louis entry in there 2 times. For David T, because he owns the St. Louis spot and only the St. Louis spot, but they have 2 distinct entries in there. And then Dennis is in here 8 times for each one of his team spots because Dennis has 8 spots in the break overall. So he's got the Braves plus 7 others, so 7 times plus 1. The Twins are in here 8 times for Dennis because Dennis has the Twins plus 7 other team spots in the break. So guys, it's tricky. If you have any questions on that, go back to our How Breaks Work page on our website. It is publicly listed on there prior to making a purchase. We even have a section dedicated on our Breakers.tv page titled how randoms are set up, and we even publicize this in our eBay listings. So just so there's no confusion or hurt feelings later. Okay, guys, with all that said, let's see who gets it. Okay, let's use the dice roll to determine how many times we randomize the list. The one that comes up on top is going to get it. Here we go. Dice roll is a 4. 3 plus 1 equals 4. So 4 times on the randoming of this crazy list. There's 40 things in it in total. So 4 times based on that dice roll. Here we go. 1. And there it is. I'll try to show it to you all the way down. Here comes again. Okay. Here comes a third. And here it comes, guys. Next one gets it. Booyah! 4 times on the randoming. I can't even get it in screen. I want to show it to you. Hold on one sec. There it is. I'm trying to show you this at the bottom. I had to move the window up a wee bit. And there it is. Chicago Cubbies come up in the top slot for Dennis. So Dennis takes that card. Again, 4 times on the randoming was done. And Dennis comes up in the top slot with the Cubbies, and there was the 4 indicating how many times we did it. Guys, thanks again for getting this stuff filled. We appreciate it. More breaks on the site. Lots of baseball to be had, including 5-star, so jump on in, guys.